Okay, so I've been wanting to do this for a while. This is the fixed base for my Hitachi, formerly Hitachi, now Metabo router. I think I need to take the acrylic off. Yeah. Um, but this is for convertible benchtop router, table base plate. It's for mid-size routers, mid-size router. These are inserts, and so all this stuff comes from Rockler. So depending on how big a bit you're using, they have these to help close up the gap, and it makes it safer to work because there's less space for stuff to fall in and get stuck when you have a spinning bit at 30,000 RPMs. So I am going to see if the whole pattern, I'm assuming this is kind of patterned after the classic Porter cable base, which has, I believe, 3 screws. And so I'm going to see if it drops right into this and centers up nicely, because I put a trim router in the smaller version of this insert and it's a little off center, so certain bits don't work with it. Also, I can't run 1/2-inch bits in the smaller one, so I want this for doing some dovetail work in the little folding Rockler router table that I'll show you at some point. But anyways, this is what I'm doing right there. All right, first things first, I'm going to pull this plate out of here. So that's the plate. I guess I need to detach all these little screws so I can access the attachment. It's a 2-piece thing, so all these little screws come out, and then I can go through hopefully a set of these holes here to lock on my router. So let's do it. I am going to get a drill. I had this, but I don't feel like twisting this many screws for that amount of time. I think this is a beat up number 2 Phillips bit, and it's working. So it's not a number 1 bit. It seems to be fitting the screws that came with the plate. So okie doke. That is the attachment plate. It's going to have to do something like that. Let me pull the acrylic. It's going to have to do something like that in case you couldn't see it. So let me get the acrylic off here and move on. Whoa. Okay, a little tighter than expected. Get a better grip. Need to charge my screw gun. All right, so that's off. I'm going to put that aside. And then, yeah, looks like right there. 1, 2, 3, more or less. Let's see, I get them? Yeah. Yep, 1, 2, 3. Here, here, and here. That should be what I need to plug it in. I'm just going to use, the screws that came with that were in the base. Okay. So I think, yeah, I can access this when I need to. So I just need to reattach the drop in, or the suspension part of the the big plate. So that's, I'm just going to put all these little guys, just get them started so that it's aligned all the way around. The clicking sound you're hearing, in case you're not familiar with this, I have a torque setting on this little drill driver. It's a Milwaukee. I love it. I've been using it for years. I've got the torque setting down to 1, so I'm going to go around and hand tighten these, but I'm going to make sure I don't strip them out. It will, what it'll do is it'll drive to a certain point, and then it'll just not travel anymore. So very handy for speeding up a process like this where it's repetitive, but it doesn't need a lot of power. So these are all pretty much set, even on that one setting. So that's pretty much it. I think as long as the handles aren't in the way, I think that should work. So I'm going to grab my little table and maybe swap this out. And then I'll show you that if I can remember to do it. So there's the base, all attached. And then these rings, it's just a matter of unscrewing. Should be a third screw here, but there's more screws inside, so that should be okay. So anyways, also there are some accessories. So you do get a safety pin and a bunch of other screws for attaching this, plus instructions. So I went through it with the little one, so I think I'm fairly confident that I can make this work. All right, hope this helps so far. Okay, so this is the compact router plate I currently have in my Rockler mini router stand. I've used it quite a bit. It's been a very effective little table. So I can clean it. Let me go grab my vacuum and tidy this up before I toss in the Metabo plate. Okay, so vacuumed it out, and so in moment of truth, let's see if that handle goes in. Does it? Enough wiggle room? Oh, yep, right there. There are some teeny tiny screws. Actually, that's the end feed, so that's probably not super critical. It's not perfectly level, but it's pretty good. There's little Allen screws that help level the plate. So you can see one over here. There's just one here. If I give that just a tiny twist, but I need to grab an Allen wrench. Okay, so it is not exactly flush. And it's not exactly flush in the back either. Rather than overthink it, I'm just going to just a hair. So that's pretty good. I'm going to tighten these up, and I'm going to see where we are with that. If I smush it down, if it flattens it out at all. Not really. So I'm going to run my blade out just a hair. Let's see this. Yep. Take the fence out for a second, so I can actually reference just about got it. All right, it's pretty much dead flat now. A little low there, but I can live with that. So yeah, I'm going to get my vacuum and clean up here. Give me a sec. Okay, so there it is. This is the underside view. This is a pretty cool system. You got these flippy feet. You can pull this pin out and the corresponding pin on the other side. What happens is this thing collapses flat. You can hang it on the wall, or you could actually attach it to a wall and use it for smaller stuff. You can clamp these feet when it's sitting upright. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. So you can see that they pivot. So you get them up to the edge, and you can put a clamp right here, or you can go through here and permanently attach them to a board, or semi-permanently. You can attach them with a screw. It has a miter track, which is super slick. So if you're doing certain things that require a way to kind of pass something over using a miter gauge for certain applications. And then there's a couple of holes here. Let me run this fence back. So even one-handed, pretty easy to attach the fence. There's a hole here and a hole there, so that the washer heads are top of these things, or the bottom of these guys. They just well, they lift right out if you can line them up. There we go. That should be far enough. So there you go. That's just a regular bolt head that drops in. And it has a dust collection. Let's see, there's, loosen that and loosen that. And then these will slide. So I loosen up the knobs on the back. And so you can bring this in. You can attach stuff for a zero clearance fence. You can clamp stuff on. You can plug a hose into the back here. That hooks onto the knobs here. Once you have the fence set where you want it, you just lock in that knob. So yeah, now it's set up to take a 2-horse router, and then I can switch out these plates so I can go bigger or smaller. And I think it's centered, or at least there's enough room where, like, I wanted to put a chamfer bit in here. This is the Bosch Colt, and maybe I just put it in the wrong place, but you can see how off center that hole is. So that wasn't letting me set up a chamfer bit, and that's a problem. So I'm going to solve that problem by using the plate that I've had sitting around, and I'm going to put a Metabo router in it. That motor right there.